All right, topic number 2, we're staying in college football. Obviously, this weekend, the rivalry weekend games kind of set up conference championships, which is this weekend. So let's talk conference championship games. What games are you looking forward to the most? And the playoff race now is just a cluster from 10 down.
I'm gonna switch this up on Gabe a little bit.
Okay.
Are you ready for this? Okay, this is gonna be how we do this second topic. We're gonna go through the major conference championships. You're gonna pick the winner of each one, and then you're gonna give me your playoff picture.
Okay.
And this is gonna be our second segment.
Okay.
All right. Friday night, arguably the best conference championship.
I think one of the most consequential, besides Georgia, Alabama.
They're 50-50. They're 50-50.
Yeah, but this is a consequential. This is the most consequential game.
Oregon, Washington, 12-0 Washington, who's number 4.
What
Oregon,
game?
number 6, 11-1. Washington defeated Oregon on a last-second field goal in Washington earlier this season. Who's your winner?
Oregon. Give me Oregon.
Okay.
I think they're better on both sides of the ball, and I think Washington's sort of been trending in a not-so-great direction in the back half of the season.
That's why Oregon is a 9.5-point favorite in this game that I believe will be played in Las Vegas. If I'm not.
It's Vegas.
Big 12 championship, kind of a stinker. Oklahoma State, Texas. Okay.
Although, I will say, I would not rule out Oklahoma State just somehow. Like, Mike Gundy always finds a
Pulls
way
something.
to,
This one also pretty easy. Big 10 championship, Michigan, Iowa.
Iowa will score
Less
3
than 10
points, at the most. 3
Probably not a
points?
touchdown.
Okay. Michigan.
ACC championship, Louisville, Florida
That's
State.
actually tough. But
Florida State 2.5-point favorites currently.
Louisville is coming off
a
a loss
to Kentucky.
This is kind of complicated, isn't it? Like I'm torn because Tate Rodemaker is just not that good, but like Louisville, I feel like they're sort of they've run out of the luster they had.
Yeah, I lean Florida State.
I'll lean Florida State.
Yeah. And then the SEC championship game, obviously a ton of implications. The number 1 team in the country, Georgia, against the number 8 and 11-1 Alabama Crimson Tide. It's a toughie.
Well, like people are going to talk about Alabama 27-24 in the Iron Bowl, but they're going to ignore the fact that
31-23
against Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
So I'll stick with what I have gone with,
Bama.
and I'm going to go with Bama.
Okay, so if it plays out the way that you're saying, Oregon would be 12-1 and win the championship and win their conference championship. Georgia would be 12-1, lose their conference championship. Bama would be 12-1, win their conference championship, beat the number 1 team. Michigan would be 13-0, and Florida State would be 13-0. How does it shake out? And Texas would be 12-1 and win their championship.
I think Michigan, Florida State, by definition of being undefeated ACC championship, would be 2, and then you'd have Alabama at 3.
And then Oregon.
Well, this is what I do. I'd have Alabama at 3, Oregon at 4. But I think the way the committee's shown they're going to lean, it might be Oregon at 3, Alabama at 4. Because Oregon's been ahead of them every single week, even though they have no business being ahead of them.
Right, you're right. And they're avenging their only loss.
Yes.
So, yeah, I agree.
That's what I think what it would be. I think it should be Alabama 3 and then Oregon at 4.
I agree. I think that's...
But whoever gets that 3 spot against a 13-0...
So the number 1 team
undefeated
in the country.
ACC Florida State, ACC champ Florida State, they're lucky.
Yes.
Because it's like they're not full strength.
There's a little bit of an asterisk there.
But at the same time, it gives you potentially an easier road into the national championship to deal with. I think Michigan versus Bama would be a hell of a game.
It would be.
So would Georgia fans have a right to be pissed off if all this plays out the way you just said it?
No.
Not particularly.
No.
I mean,
how? How can you really argue with it? Michigan would be 13-0 and win their championship. Florida State would also be 13-0 and win their championship. Bama would have beat them and won their championship, and Oregon would have won their championship and be 12-1 and avenge their only loss.
Yeah.
And
so
it's got to be championship winners, unless mayhem happens, which is certainly on the table.
The mayhem is. Let me go ahead and pull this.
But if Washington wins and Georgia loses, then Georgia has no chance of getting it. 0%, because Washington would be 3 13-0 teams.
Mayhem. Okay, let's see. Michigan, undefeated Big Ten champ. Florida State, undefeated ACC champ. Alabama, 12-1 SEC champ. Oregon. This is sort of what we're talking about here. But then Texas, that's
Right.
the wild card. 12-1 with a Big 12 championship.
With a win over
Then-
Alabama. Head-to-head win over Alabama.
Then you'd have Georgia, Washington, both at 12-1 on the outside.
That is
looking
spicy,
in.
man.
Yeah.
How would that play the hell out?
It's tough.
Oh.
That's
But here's the thing: you're not. What people have to understand is, under no circumstances are you leaving out the SEC. So whoever wins this damn Georgia-Alabama
Is
game,
in.
it's a play-in game.
Yeah.
You're in, and then the other one has to have a lot of help. Well, Alabama's done if they're out. If they lose. If Georgia loses, they need a lot of help.
Yeah.
They need a lot of help around them. They need Texas to go down. I mean, what else? What else would they need to have spin their way to make that happen? Because
I don't know.
they need Texas to go down at the
Yeah,
very least.
Texas would
Florida
have to
State
lose.
to go down.
Yeah, Florida State.
That
have
would
to
be
lose.
the other one to get Georgia in and Alabama in.
Yeah. Florida State lost, then both of them could get in.
That's what you'd need. But I don't know.
That's
It's a
tough.
lot going right for you.
It's tough.